Good afternoon, Weather Spartans. This is Connor Keeley back with Mr. Evans, and today we're going to be doing an update, breaking down the historical high risk that we just had this past week, and then another event that we had yesterday. And we're also going to be showing some pictures from the air show this week in Lakeland from the Sun and Fun 2023, which is pretty cool. Here we go. So first we'll start off with the Storms Prediction Center outlook and stuff. What was leading up to the high risk. So I highlighted this here. A storm motion near 50 knots with supercell wind profiles will support cells capable of significant and long track tornadoes with time upscale growth into a quasi-linear convective system is expected, and intense wind gusts will be possible in addition to mesovortex tornadoes. So based off of that and stuff, the Storms Prediction Center issued 2 areas of moderate risk watching over the southernmost north part of Dixie Alley and stuff into the southern plains, and then the northern plains and that northern moderate risk. Well, as of right now, the Storms Prediction Center had only kept the moderate risk for tornadoes to the south and stuff, as they were thinking that's where most of the activity was going to be at first, but that did change. So now let's look at our dew points go up to the Mississippi Valley watershed and stuff, as they call this region. So you can see our dew points are already in the 60s, so that is favorable for thunderstorm development. So now we're looking at the composite reflectivity. We're about around midnight-ish, I believe, late afternoon, actually, my bad, on Friday. So as you guys can see, we have multiple cells starting to break off that line that is developed across especially Arkansas, Missouri, and then up north into Illinois. And in the surface-based cape, which is just something that we hardly see, which was above 3,000 joules per kilogram. So you only see that with the prime big events, because the small ones usually keep it around 1,500. So now we're looking at the wind shear. So as you guys can see, we had wind shear, which is like the wind in the atmosphere. It was screaming over 80 knots across most of the region, and that's why they did upgrade that area to a moderate risk, as you guys can see later on. But the surface-based lift and energy helicity index are both off the charts and stuff for this event that we had. And now the significant tornado perimeter is maxed out, as well, as you can see across northwestern Illinois there. Now we're going to look at the updraft. One of the updraft helicity runs from the southern mode, and then the northern mode will start off on the southern mode. So as you guys can see, we have these weaker signs of rotation and stuff. Maybe they only show one possible strong one down there, but this is where the main event, where we had a movie tornado, what we're calling a movie tornado, because it's a tornado that they basically made for movies that we had in Iowa last Friday. So unfortunately, we cannot show in today's video because of copyright issues and stuff like that. So, but as you guys can see, what we can show you is the updraft velocities is screaming across Illinois and southern Wisconsin and Iowa there. So, and now we're into the afternoon update. So as you guys can see, like I did call it, they did issue a moderate risk for tornadoes in northern mode too, along with the southern mode. And as you can see, they expanded that enhanced risk farther to the east to cover Nashville. And now let's look at what wording led up to that high risk for this day. So as you guys can see, we'll start on this side. They said and mentioned in the summary that at least a few long track, strong and potentially violent tornadoes are probable. And then they say over here that the possibility of long track storm, potentially violent tornadoes are tornadoes across a broad region in the Mississippi Valley. And then they said there will be upstream, there will be a threat for a couple of long track supercells capable of producing strong, potentially violent tornadoes. And then they said sickle-shaped hydrographs, strong to potentially violent tornadoes will be possible with a few long track supercells. So that is the wording that led up to this now. About 10:40-ish, I believe it was, Friday morning, the Storms Prediction Center went out and put out these mesoscale shots and saying that the northern and southern mode was getting an upgrade to a tornado-driven high risk, which the last high risk we saw was March 25th, 2021, I believe, for a 30% high risk, which is what we had. So, as you guys can see now, with that high risk being issued and the threat for the violent tornadoes that they were wording and stuff, they issued 2 more mesothelial sessions after that, saying that PDS tornado watch will likely be needed in these red highlighted areas, which PDS stands for particularly dangerous situation, in case you did not know that. And now let's take a look at the high risks that were issued. So as you guys can see across Illinois and Iowa, and then Arkansas, extreme southwestern Tennessee, and extreme northwestern Mississippi. And as you guys can see, that was for that 30% tornado probabilities that they were forecasting for significant long track violent tornadoes. So as you guys can see, here are the 3 PDS tornado watches that were issued on that day. We have one across Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, southern Missouri, southern Illinois, Tennessee, Mississippi, and then across the Tennessee, Mississippi, and extreme northwestern Alabama regions. And now here we are on the storm reports. As you guys can see, in the red, we'll start off with the red. We had 161 tornado reports. They're saying this is probably the biggest outbreak of tornadoes we've seen in at least a decade, probably, and stuff. I don't think this compares to April 27, 2011, but as you guys can see, this is definitely a large tornado outbreak. And then we had nearly 500 wind reports and nearly 400 hail reports, and with a total of 990, so near 1,000 severe storm reports we saw. And now let's go ahead and take a pictures from the air show this weekend. So as you guys can see on front of not the Hurricane Hunters plane, but the plane that they fly out west across the United States and up along the coastal regions to measure scientific data to see what's going on in the atmosphere, I believe, and then that's one of the pilots that flies one of these planes. And now let's take a look at the big dog and stuff. So as you can see, this is the hurricanes. This is the plane that they actually fly into the hurricanes, the C5, I believe it's called, the C3.
Yeah.
The B5.
P3.
B3.
The P3 Orion.
All right, and then as you guys can see, this big black dome is the radar underneath the plane. The guy said, and then this hurricane plane actually flew through Hurricane Ian, which a little update about Hurricane Ian. Something that most people don't know is they actually did upgrade it to a Category 5 right before it made landfall, and so they measured 160-mile-an-hour winds in it. This is all the storms that this plane has flown through, and then all the countries that it's flown through too. So now let's take a look at the some information from the Storms Prediction Center about yesterday's event. So as you guys can see, it is maxed off the chart over here. It doesn't get any higher than 11. It's just off the charts and stuff because the atmosphere is screaming, guys. So. Hold on, technical difficulties here, guys. There we go. So let's go ahead and break down the models from yesterday. So to start off with, as you guys can see, the storm relative helicity was off the charts pretty much again. Don't exactly understand why there wasn't a high risk, but Mr. Evans will explain that for us in a second. And then as you guys can see, these cells here in Iowa turned into some pretty big hail boomers. Only one of the cells in Iowa actually went on to produce a drill bit tornado around dinner time last night. And then we had a violent wedge tornado in just to the east of Davenport yesterday as well. And then as you guys can see, the updraft velocities too and stuff showing 1, 2, 3, 4 long track tornadoes. And then here's more information, but it was this cell right down here, that one right there, that went on to produce that tornado last night, and stuff that Brad Arnold intercepted and stuff. It was pretty amazing and stuff, but unfortunately, again, because of copyright stuff, we cannot show pictures of that, unfortunately. But maybe next week, and so when we have more time, we can break down the radar scans from these past two events. And as you guys can see, we have more showing 1, 2, 3, 4 again major tornadoes. So that is the end of today's show. So I want to thank everybody for watching today's video, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more info. Thank you.